Broken Arrow family is sharing their story tonight for the first time since a man shot at them at their home 18 months ago. Hayden Payne was the shooter and is now in prison. Dean Black says he was frantically trying to protect his wife and pregnant daughter that day. Police say Black shot through a closed door, shooting the officer twice. Black was charged with assault with a deadly weapon, but says he is innocent. News on 6's Lori Fulbright has the story you will only see on 6.
Dean and Kimberly Black say days before the shooting, Hayden Payne had assaulted their daughter, threatened her and them, cut up her clothes, slashed their tires, called and texted 168 times, and she had filed an emergency protective order. And then Payne showed up at their house with a gun.
Kimberly Black was sitting in her chair outside when her daughter pulled into the driveway in a panic.
And as she pulled in, she was screaming, "Mama, Mama, he's here, he's here."
Kimberly ran inside and got her husband Dean, who was getting in the shower. So wearing only his underwear, he ran outside with a gun and told Payne to leave. They say Payne drove off and the family called 911. And while on the phone, minutes later, Payne came back.
Came to a screeching halt, kicked his door open, and was just kind of being wild with his gun and walking towards us, shooting.
The three of them ran inside as bullets hit the bricks, sending pieces flying. The women fell to the floor, and Dean took cover behind a wall. He had been hit by some of that flying shrapnel. She says then they heard footsteps on the porch and heard the outer door open and the inner door handle jiggling.
What was going through your mind in that moment when you heard the first door open and the second one start to open?
Hayden is coming through that door.
So Dean fired 2 shots near the doorknob. But it wasn't Payne. On the other side, it was a police officer who had responded to the scene. They say 43 seconds is all that had passed between Payne shooting at them outside and Dean firing through the door inside.
The man had been threatening us with bodily harm, and he had told us in a text message he was coming in the house. What are you going to do? He's already shot at us. Dean is injured. So he had like 3 seconds to make a decision.
But prosecutors say that decision could have killed a police officer. They say the officer was hit in the chest, only saved by his vest, also hit in the arm, requiring surgery. They say they sympathize with the Blacks' terrifying situation, but say that doesn't change the fact it's illegal to shoot when you cannot see your target or your background.
This officer was there to help them. He heard and thought they were in danger for their lives with an active shooter. That officer went there, braved what he believed to be an active shooter, and was shot by the very people he was trying to help.
What do you say to people who say, I understand the chaos, the panic, the fear, but you never ever shoot at something you cannot see? What do you say to those people?
I tell them to put themselves in my place and see what they would do in 43 seconds.
Dean Black is acting as his own attorney and has argued he was acting in self-defense and is protected by the Castle Doctrine that says you can use force against an intruder. Prosecutors say, however, the officer wasn't an intruder and never came inside, and 2 judges have ruled self-defense does not apply.
Much of the defense that Mr. Black has stated in court has been this is the police's fault.
The Blacks say they didn't hear sirens or the officer knocking or announcing, and they believe the officer thought Payne was in the house and was coming in to look for him. They believe the police were the ones who'd made mistakes and have lied about them. The Blacks do not believe Dean did anything wrong, and they want the charge dropped. And they say for him to plead guilty to any crime, even a misdemeanor, would be a lie.
You don't want him to even plead to, say, reckless handling of a firearm?
There was no reckless handling. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Prosecutors say they will not dismiss this charge, and they can't work out a deal with the Blacks unless Dean stops blaming police and accepts responsibility for shooting through a closed door and hurting the officer. So if the 2 sides cannot reach an agreement, this case will go to trial and a jury will decide. If convicted, he's facing prison time all the way up to life in prison. As for Hayden Payne, he got an 8-year prison sentence. Lori Fulbright, Oklahoma's Own News on 6.